Ladies and gentlemen, we have found the legend John Walker with Emerald Luxury Coaches. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, Andrew. How are you?
Well, excellent, and even better now that we found your latest and greatest on the new Prevost 9660 shell.
Yes, sir.
What's all going on with this coach, sir?
This is a quad slide 9660. It's got the super slides in the bedroom. It's got the 4-level slide on the passenger side. Worked on our new layout, the new systems, everything we've worked on the last few years. This is one of those coaches.
Yes, sir. You're making all kinds of little improvements, even some more improvements I noticed from the last 100th anniversary coach we filmed with you.
Yes, sir.
And today we're going to take this coach for a test drive. But can we show the folks on YouTube this incredible coach here?
Absolutely. We're glad you're here today.
Yes, sir. Now, coming up to the front end here, I want to point out this has the E-mirrors and the regular mirrors.
Yes, sir.
Is that an option, or is that going to be standard on the new body style?
With Emerald, it's going to be standard. I think you can get them without the mirrors if you don't want it, but we're putting both and still have the traditional mirrors on the front.
And the owners that you've talked to that do have the E-mirrors, how are they responding?
You know, great response. People are using them. I've drove with them a lot, and I tell you, the more I drive, the more I use them. So I think they're wonderful. They'll really help you at night more than anything. And I think the safety factor, it elevates that. You know, in the blind spots, they nearly have gone away. So it's great.
Yes, sir. And we talked in the last video about the more aerodynamic front end. I'm looking forward to getting this coach out on the road, experiencing that new ride. But going into the bays here, what all is going on in your bays here?
So we'll start right here. This is bay 1, driver's side. It's back what we were showing in the last video, Andrew. We're keeping this bay completely open for the customer to make those decisions on what he wants. Cut our electrical panels back, and on this bay we removed some electrical panels. So this is completely open. We've already had some customers on this model. They've added some cabinets. They've changed the slide. We have a slide that goes all the way through both sides, so you can do whatever you want to. We really try to make this universal for someone to design.
Yes, sir, and I see the signature Emerald lawn chairs here. If you don't mind, I'm going to pull these out to show these off with that emerald embroidery. Just such a good looking lawn chair, timeless design, and then you've got a nice compartment for your owners to easily store those. And then right below that is your black tank hose storage there.
Yes, sir. They can get to your slide out controls here. Everything else is just easy to get to.
Yeah, now this coach, I believe, has Prevost slides. Do you use all Prevost slides or other slide rooms?
No, this coach has Prevost slides, Prevost paint. I use everything Prevost, so if you go into a Prevost service center, they have everything you need. All those technicians are used to working on this. So there's some third-party slide companies that we've tried to stay away from those. Nothing wrong with those, it's just we like everything Prevost.
Yes, sir. And then coming into bay 2 here, got some more of those signature Emerald Luxury Coach lawn chairs. Then it looks like, is that a Bose subwoofer here?
So we do have a sound bar on the other side for the 65-inch TV, and then we do have the sub, and you know, some people want the sub, some people don't, but we have the sub in this coach. And then we have a table that's protecting our TV, but we do have a table you can take and set up for dinner or whatever. Still keeping this as open as much as we can. It's open all the way through. Our electrical boxes, a lot of changes we made on this new platform was, you know, we found that getting everything tight as we can, some of you see big boxes hanging out in there, that really gets in the way. So everything we minimize to whatever the electrical component called for, so there's no wasted space. A big design change for us and our team, but they worked really hard to get that, so that really helps the customer. And we made sure that any of these boxes, to get to it, you don't have to move a lot of equipment out of the bay to actually access it. So thinking about the customer when they have this loaded, not just building it for us, building it for them.
I've spoke with several Emerald owners and even RV technicians out there, and they just really appreciate the way that you build your coaches, the simplicity of accessing stuff when it is time to be repaired. You know, you build these coaches so you can just pop off a panel, get to what you need to get to, and a lot of people are speaking very highly of your builds.
You know, it's easy to go build something and just build it over the top of it and deal with it later, but later always comes, it seems like, in the motorhome world. So if we can build something that we can take off quick, work on, put it back, and still looks good, and get the customer on the road, it seems to be pretty beneficial.
And I remember when we first filmed out here about 5 years ago, you talked about Emerald being a real, simple build. And I know your coaches have evolved quite a bit since then, over the last several years. Are you still going with that more simple build style, or are you getting more complex?
People feel when you hear the word simple that you're not putting the money into it, it's a cut in a corner, or we're still using the highest end products and the highest end components that you can buy for one of these. There's no price savings, if you will, to make it simple though. So it's listening to the customers that use them every day, things that they want that would make their life easier when just rolling up a cord reel, or how they store something. So that's where the simplicity comes into. I can design it or think however we want to, but I'm still not the guy using it every day. So we use the best components, but with a simple mindset of, hey, we want to fix it quick, we want ease of maintenance and ease of use. So you can go enjoy the coach and you're not trying to run something that's very difficult or something you have to remember a lot of, because when they store the coach maybe for the winter or they store it through the summer, it's hard to remember wherever the switch is and everything. So we're trying to make that as simple as we can and give them the information at their fingertips so they don't have to hunt for things without making a phone call. So
yes, sir.
That's the mindset behind that, Andrew.
Now, if someone does need to make a phone call, what's your service network if someone does have an issue?
So our service network, we know you first name basis. It's very intimate. You get to know all of us. We have a key person that you call into, then that person reaches out to service techs, whoever can help 24/7. You know, of course, we're there 8 to 5 every day. It's a small group, but they know the coaches. We have a huge database that has all this information that's built, how it's built, so we can get that information to the customer.
Yes, sir. There's more and more Emeralds on the road every year, and I continue to hear feedback from Emerald owners that they're just very happy with how you take care of them on the service side, keep them going, and just not problematic coaches. They seem to be a nice, simple design.
I'm telling you, Andrew, I'm very happy with our customers. We're lucky to have them, and we don't take them lightly. We know that they can go buy anything. Our competition is strong out there. These guys have been building coaches for years, and they do an unbelievable job. I think I've said to you before, you know, at the end of the day, all we have is service. We have to shake their hand and we have to face them, and we got to be friends with them, and we want them to come back and buy another coach. We want this to be a good experience.
Well, yes, sir. I know you've been getting in a lot of reps over the last 20 years of building Prevost, and before that, you had several years just in Outlaw Conversions, your living quarter horse trailer conversion company. So this isn't your first rodeo either.
No, and you know, I eased into the business. I tried not to just jump into the business, and it took some time to get in this business.
And I want to ask you more about your history with Outlaw and Emerald, and we're going to talk more when we get inside. It's getting a little windy out here, so we're going to go through this coach kind of quickly on the exterior.
Sure.
But your generator here, is this going to be a PowerTech 20 kW generator?
This is the PowerTech 20 kW generator, Andrew. We've got this in a quiet box. The thing is really quiet when it runs. We put some redundancy in here. We have extra fans that will remove the heat out of the bay when it's running. We have the air compressor here that's for the slide outs. That air compressor is just keeping the slide seals up when the coach is, you know, in the resort parked or at home or wherever you're at. And then it has air ride on the generator. So that's what we're maintaining with that air compressor. Very little air on this coach as far as air systems. Everything's electric, pneumatic, something different, something that's quiet. And then this is on a slide, easy to change oil on, easy to do maintenance on. But with the lithium battery setup that we're running, I mean, the customers are running the generators very little. They come back in and it's very low hours, so it's amazing. But if you need it, you got a big engine here that can pull it.
And I've got to point out just how nicely everything is labeled. You've got these placards around the coach. You know, here, your generator airbag pressure, everything is super easy to read.
This has a fire suppression system on it right there. You can see that fire suppression. That's a manual release if you needed it, but it does have auto releases on it too. So you're dealing with fuel and heat. So it's a nice safety feature on it.
And is this the only fire suppression system in the coach? Or
no, there is a fire suppression system on the engine as well.
And I know you build your coaches to RVIA code, which I don't know of any of the other Prevost converters out there building to RVIA code. Are those fire suppression systems mandatory under RVIA code?
You know, they're not. That's a good place to cut a corner and not spend some money. So they're not required, but we just feel it is. Try to give our customer a little bit more reassurance that, you know, they know they're dealing with fuel and hot, and this is a bay you don't use a lot. You don't go check it, and you know, when things happen. So RVA doesn't require. They do require the way we hook up our electricity, our plumbing, things like that. But it's still kind of a standard, if you will, across like the country. We try to do as much as we can. So this is bay 4. With the design change and everything we did on the P9660, we made a lot of design change to our plumbing bay. I've said before, you could sit here and talk about the plumbing bay all day long. So that there was no hookups or any hoses on the other side of the coach, we ended up taking in this bay here and creating storage on the other side of the coach. So, you know, you see some of my older coaches, they had plumbing on both sides. This one, we moved all the plumbing to this side because that's where you're doing your hookups and everything, you know, at the resorts or campgrounds or whatever. So we moved the Oasis heater up here out of the engine compartment on some of the other coaches we had done. We have a 50-foot electric 50 amp cord reel and then a 100-foot hose reel there. Easy to get to. These can get tangled up. I don't like burying them behind a cabinet. So that's where you can get to it, work on it. They are mechanical, so they do break, and you got to be careful so you can get somebody on the road. We do have a selector for your generator battery. This has a generator standalone battery, but if you did have it go down, you can use the chassis batteries to fire the generator. And then we do have a solar panel. We just put a 700-watt solar panel on the roof, and that's the unit that's monitoring it. You can set it however you want to set it, how many amps you want it to put out. And that charges our chassis batteries and our generator battery. And I tell you, it's been nice because we've been putting those on for several years, and it has really helped the chassis batteries on the coaches, because sometimes you're not in a place you can charge those. So it's worked well.
Helps maintain and
it just maintains, keeps them warm.
More longevity.
Yeah, for sure. Instead of going killing them and bringing them back up.
Yes, sir. And I'm noticing here you've got an incoming shore voltage meter here.
That's Emerald Special. This is us having service calls and figuring things out. So the number one problem we've seen is you go to a resort or a campground and you plug in and it doesn't work, and the first thing they say is there's something wrong with your motorhome. So really can get a customer, you know, looking for a problem and going down a rabbit hole to find the right thing. So we found if we can monitor the power at that plug, sometimes it might not be the coach. Right now we're sitting here static, there's nothing plugged in, so we have 0 amps, but if you plug this coach in, it will tell you what that pole is putting out. So if maybe a maintenance guy came in and flipped the plug around by accident, it can happen, and that would be reverse polarity. This will flash and let you know not to turn on the breaker to the coach. So you can check the power, and then if you're happy with the 240 power, you come in here and you turn on your main power, and then it feeds power to the coach. So it's a nice safety feature, and we use it quite often.
When I had a Class A diesel, I've been to quite a few campgrounds where I'd go and, you know, plug into my 50 and wasn't getting power, and I thought I had a problem with the electrical system. Then go to my toolbox, test the power coming out of the post, and several times I was surprised that it was the campground's power post and not the coach. So really nice to have that built in, so you're not having to go grab a meter out of your toolbox. All done right here automatically.
And, you know, in the campground's defense a little bit, sometimes when you unplug that heavy 50 and you bend it, it'll break that plug, and you don't mean to. It just does, because it's a tough angle and that plug's heavy. So this thing can save you.
Yes, sir. Then behind you there, just a small little touch, but man, how nice is it to have this Emerald Luxury Coaches doormat, 2 little turns of a twist, take this up front, put that at your driver door, and then when it's time to pack up and go, just put it right here. And then I like this positioning too, if you do need to power wash it. I don't know if I'd want to power wash around all this electronics, but
yeah, you can spray it off.
Probably dry, as long as you don't get any water in there.
Sure.
So
We got our rubber gloves there. That's
yes, sir.
Like to put on everything.
Yeah, those are important. And then now I'm noticing power going to these bay doors here. What's this all wired here? Are these electric latches?
That's for your automatic latch and stuff from the dash. You can lock the doors, unlock the doors from the dash. So that's your power running those. Have lights on the side of the coach as well. So you're running lights and stuff. So each door will have power on it.
Yes, sir. And then we've got our diesel fuel on both sides for the 200-gallon diesel fuel tank.
Yes, sir.
It does have a locking fuel door as well.
Yes, sir. You can fill DEF from both sides of the coach as well.
Yeah, where is the DEF fill?
The DEF fill's behind that door too, right below the fuel.
Okay, so they're both in the same spot.
Yes, sir.
Talking about your plumbing bay here.
A lot going on here, and you know, we're pretty proud of it. We've got some great customers that have worked with us and helped us build what we need to build for them to use. The guys that plumb at the shop, they've really worked hard to listen to the customers, and it's hard to sometimes get the customer's information to the shop floor and connect those two. That's what I feel like I have to do every day, is connect the customer to the guy that's doing the work. That's not always an easy task, but these guys have done a great job. Got a 75 pressure pump here, and then we do a backup 12-volt pump here for redundancy. And then on these newer coaches, we have our water drop system that we're using right here that has the filters. That is going to be for your drinking water on your shower and your ice makers. You got some redundancy on all of our plumbing systems and on your pumps and your filters. Everything you can just walk up to the coach. It's easy to work on, you know, and I think that's what we kept in mind, because sometimes you pull in. You know, I had a great customer the other night telling me how dark it was at some of the places. He was like, John, you got to get us more lights on the outside of the coaches. He said, it's so dark. And then if you don't have good lighting in here, it's hard for the guys to see at night, and you may be in a hurry because of rain or whatever. So trying to make it easy. You can do the maintenance on this yourself very quick if you want to. Your black gray dumps, they're automatic, but they have manual backups on them, so you can pop one loose if you lose an electric motor. It's got everything. bypasses on everything. You can stay running.
Yeah, then we've got these big touch pads out here, huge touch pads, very easy to see, very easy to use. We can monitor the tank levels, turn your water pumps on and off out here, even control your climate control, generator, all from this panel.
Yeah, you can run your air conditioners. You can do it all from this side of the coach. We have one on each side of the coach, so you don't have to walk around. Then you have a standalone light switch here, so you don't have to go through that to get to a light switch. We just did that for convenience. And then you have a manual water fill here. So if you didn't have a city water, you could manually fill your tank. We have a manual fill on both sides. You have your city water, your black tank rinse, and then your water spigot just to get water if you needed some fresh water to clean something off, run a garden hose or whatever.
What are the holding tank capacities in this coach?
So on this one are 170 fresh and 77 gray, 77 black. You can combine our black and gray tank, or you can run them independently.
Okay.
So for us to be RVA certified, we have to run 2 independent tanks. They don't consider one tank certified, but then you can combine them and you can run a gray water bypass through the system too if you wanted to do that. So it kind of has it all built in one to kind of fit everybody.
Large holding tank capacity too.
Yes, nice.
I'm looking forward to seeing inside of the bedroom super slide here, but I've got to point out you've added that perforated vinyl with the paint job with some really cool detail going through the rear windows now. Is that standard or is that more of an upgrade?
That is an upgrade. We do them without painting through the windows, but then we've been doing some with, this is a very subtle paint job. I like some of the paint jobs very subtle, but elegant. And so running it through the window looks really good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, black, silver. It's almost got a little bit of like a pewter silver color in it. Just a stunning exterior paint job here. And then we've got the electric fans here. I know Prevost did that in about 2018,
yes,
where even in cold weather, I've heard that the fans, if they start to get iced up, they'll reverse and blow out the ice.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. I've never experienced it, but I hear people say that. But that was a great change they did. So that helped the horsepower on the engine, the whole 9 yards. So this is a lot better setup.
Yes, sir. And they did that around 2018, I believe.
Yes, sir.
We were following you in the campground today, and I had to say, I mean, what a sexy looking rear end with the kind of aggressive lines in the paint job. That front and rear cap are really stand out.
Our team worked hard on that. Man, when we changed that P9660, the back end didn't change, but the way the awnings laid out changed what we were doing. So we really wanted to follow the body line. Like I've told you before, Andrew, I want the roof cowlings to look like they were part of the Prevost when we built it. So they've done a great job making that fit in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Your team knocked it out of the park with those front and rear caps. Now, Volvo D13 engine back here. We'll take a quick look at the engine bay.
D13, we haven't done anything to it, just this is factory standard from Prevost. Runs great, runs smooth, as you saw today when we were test driving how clean it ran. And
I like you've got a note there to the detail, guys. I come from the detail world. Do not power wash alternators.
Yeah.
Thinking ahead, making it easy.
People don't think about it, they don't mean to, but it just happens.
Now, is this alternator here factory from Prevost, or is this something that you add?
This is the standard alternator setup from Prevost. We take their 2 factory alternators off and we add 2 alternators that will charge our lithium battery system. So we've tried to keep it as close to what the Volvo engine has and what Prevost has set up here. We just changed the alternators so because they're producing different power than what comes from the factory. So pretty clean, pretty easy. A lot of people don't even know that we've touched it.
We're gonna take this coach for a test drive here later in the video, see how it is going down the road. I have not driven I've not ridden in a 9660, but you mentioned earlier this is quite a big improvement from the previous.
Yeah, it rides good, Andrew. I mean, it just drives good. It's quiet. You'll see. We get on the road today. It's nice and windy here in California.
Oh, yes, sir.
We're about to blow away, so it'll be a good day for a test drive.
Yeah, looking for it. And some pretty rough roads out here in California as well.
Big time. So like I was saying on the plumbing bay over there earlier, we moved a lot of our systems to that bay 4 driver's side bay. And then what that allowed us to do is make this more of a storage bay. We added a refrigerator here.
It's a big step up in your bays from, your coaches 4 or 5 years ago. I don't remember the bays being this finished out, but this is a great look with some good storage out here. You've got some shelving in here as well as the drawers. And I like this hardware that you use.
Your manual fill here, and we have a city water fill here. So it was a place you couldn't get water very easily. Instead of running a hose a long way, you could fill up on this side of the coach or run a city water fill if you had to. So just some convenience depending on where these guys park sometimes.
Yeah, then a water spigot here as well.
Yeah, you need to get a little water out of it.
Yes, sir. You could probably hook up a power washer if you wanted.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, then you've got outlets, another nice tablet here. Now, it's too windy to be putting these awnings out. We got 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Now, does this coach have the big bat wing awnings like we've seen on some of your other Emeralds?
This does. I wish we could put them out today, but just for safety. But yeah, this does have the bat wings, and we put big awnings on both sides. So you could actually park your car on the other side if you wanted to in the shade or something.
When we recently filmed a 23 Emerald for one of your customers, he absolutely raved about the service he's received from you and your team. And when we turned the cameras off, he let us know that you went over the top, above his expectations. A real testament for Emerald luxury coaches when we hear the Emerald owners, feedback on their ownership experience. And that coach had the batwing awnings. It's a great look, and that was a double slide. But do the awnings go out the same
length, same angle, what you'd see on that video? They're nice. They come over and break over. So very nice awning.
Yeah, nothing like those batwing awnings, and that's an expensive option as well.
Yeah, there's nothing cheap about it. Just getting them designed to, set up here right and look like they're part of the body is not easy as well. Those awnings tie back into our caps where we have to design everything to fit.
And is that an option if someone custom builds an Emerald luxury coach, or do they all come with the batwing awnings?
Right now, people want them, so we're just putting them on every one of them. Our X3s are the H's, quad, triple, or double. We just put the bat wings on it because they think they don't, or maybe they're going to save a little money, but in the long run, you're really glad you have them.
At this level, they're looking for the best of the best. And I see the diesel fuel door here. We can fill the diesel fuel tank on both sides. And then what is this radiator or these fins ventilation below this fuel door?
So that's your condenser for your dash air and heat. They've built a compartment for it here, and it's definitely a lot better location than what they originally had them in.
Yeah, have you noticed an improvement on the new dash air versus the previous body style?
Yeah, I think so. I think, by moving the condenser here and the lines are not as long, it runs a lot better, easier to work on it and get to it. So I do like this. This door actually just pops off and the system is right there. We're not taking things apart while say the customer was in for service. So this is a huge improvement. So kind of that same philosophy. Prevost has that philosophy. We want to have that same philosophy at Emerald.
Yes, sir. And then some nice storage here. Again, I like these cabinets. This is a big step up from your older Emeralds from 4 or 5 years ago. When did you start really going over the top in your bays and finishing them out with all the cabinets and drawers like this?
We started on the new P9660s in the bays and our X3s. So you're getting the cabinets in them.
And I know you're a busy man. We've missed you a few times trying to film a few coaches. We couldn't get our schedules to align, but how many new 9660 shells have you built so far?
So we've built 10 up to date. So yeah, so we're getting our rhythm and learning a lot more about them. And so we've made quite a few modifications to our cab already. And so that keeps changing. We're going to keep listening to that customer and keep working toward a better cab.
Yeah, trying to get better and better. And I think Emerald's really gained, market share. I was just telling you earlier, I was looking through comments of other videos and someone was kind of naming the big, the big Prevost converters. They mentioned Liberty, Marathon, and they put Emerald right in the same sentence with Liberty and Marathon.
Well, that's good. I'm honored that it's hard to get up there with these guys because our competitors set the bar extremely high. So we're working hard to get any customer we can, and we're proud to have each customer we get.
Well, you've definitely been gaining market share, and I think that the customers really like the way you're building these buses.
Thank you, Andrew.
Now, this is really stepping up here. I see twin 5,000 watt inverters and just so clean the way you finish out your electrical bay here. What's all going on in this bay?
You can fill this up with cabinets. We have some cabinets we built that can go here, but this is the heart of the coach. This has 4 lithium batteries on it, and then we have all our links connections. So we use everything that is Victron energy right now. So we're not using a third party or switching our systems up. It's all Victron all the way through, even the batteries. And so, which is nice. And then what we did, we found that batteries are really important to some customers, and maybe some it's not that important. They just want the coach to work. They're doing other things, right? So what we did on this one is you can stack batteries. You can add, if we have a customer that wants more batteries, you can add more lithium batteries, and the links connection's already in place. All the system is there. You can just add it. And then what else you can do with this system, which is really cool, is you can add AGM batteries to this. So you just reprogram the inverters, and then that kind of gets you back to where the industry was before lithium.
It seems like lithium has been really, gaining popularity though as well.
Some of the other converters they've been doing a long time, and so it's already been out there a long time and it's proven. I think it's just a matter of getting the customers used to how to use it. Is a little bit different, and they're maintenance free, so you're not really doing a lot of work on them. So you turn them on and off basically, and that's how simple this system is. It's on or off. And so it's ready to roll all the time.
Yeah, so with this button right here, if you're gonna leave the coach for a few months and you don't have access to 50 amp, are you able to shut this system down?
That's correct. You'll shut this system completely down. And if something was on, well, there won't be anything drawing power on it, but you can shut it down, come back, flip that switch on, and it'll power right back up.
And how many ACs can you run for how long off of your inverters?
So right now with 4 batteries, we're only running 2 air conditioners. So to run more air conditioning, we'd want to add more battery. So on this coach is 4, you run the front AC and the back AC. So running down the road, and I think it's efficient enough. Some people want to run more air conditioners than that, which is understandable.
And I see a little heater here in the bay as well to keep those batteries warm in colder climates.
Got to keep the batteries warm, and then we've got extra fans. If we were in hot weather, we have fans that get the heat out of the bay. And then we have some redundancy I think is critical. When you're transferring power from your generator to your shore cord, sometimes that's a mechanical switch that'll go out on you. So my service guys wanted to add redundancy. So these switches, what happens is you can bypass it. So you can get the customer down the road, get him back home, and then we can work on it. You don't have to send somebody out to fix that switch. And then we have an inverter bypass, so you can lose an inverter. They're mechanical as well. And so what happens is you can just run off generator, or you can run off power cord to get the customer back home. So there's some nice redundancy on your main power that they're not just completely stranded if you do go down. So haven't had to use it many times, but it's there if we need it.
Yes, they're always good to have just in case. And I saw some awning controls in the coach, but it looks like a manual awning remote here as well if you just want to put the awnings out without the remote.
So you have it on our system if you want to put the awnings out, but if you don't, you do have a manual switch as backup that's directly to the Girard awning system.
Yes, there's a lot of redundancy built into your coaches.
Trying to give them a couple options if things aren't working right. So yeah, for sure.
Now this being a quad slide, these front bay doors are going to be the panographing bay doors?
Yes, sir. So, and that bay one to do the same thing, Andrew. So it'll pantograph open there. There you go.
Yeah, really cool design. And then I will point out, we've got the slide rooms in right now. We're getting ready to have this coach staged. You're throwing a big pickleball event here at Motor Coach Country Club. But with the slide room out, because of the height of this slide, still very easy to access these bays, and you don't have to duck down, too much to get below. I mean, this slide room is probably 4.5 feet off the ground or so.
They're very high. So it's nice, like if you're traveling to get in these bays, it's easy. Just easy to unload your stuff, easy to get in. So
well, then you've got a manual slide tray here as well.
We talked about before, I'm pretty big on manual. We do have, this option is electrical if you do.
And then one less thing that'll break there.
So these are nice slide trays. We've got them built around the gussets that Prevost puts in the coach.
And those gussets there, that's all part of the Prevost frame there?
Yes, sir.
Prevost structure?
That comes built that way, and we all build around that. So we try not to touch any of their structure if we can. So, but still give the customer all the storage we can.
Yeah, then when we put this in, this always really impresses me, the way you have your TV kind of hidden behind this table so it's protected while it's going down the road. Real simple design. But then you've got a huge TV here. How big is this TV?
So it's a 65-inch TV. It's got a sound bar in there. It works nice.
And then you could tilt this depending on the glare of the sunlight. And I like seeing, this wiring back here, the way you put all this together. All super clean, and then all those wires are protected there.
Yes, sir.
You build that all in-house at Emerald?
Sir. We build it all in-house to make it fit the coach. So, and then, bay one is back to kind of what we said, not a lot to show here. We got 110 outlets, USBs on everything, and USB-C on our plugs, and then it has a manual slide here.
Do you ever do power slide trays?
Yes, sir, we do. We offer this exact same slide tray with power.
If someone wanted to purchase a coach like this and then add that aftermarket at Emerald, is that something that you'd be able to do?
Absolutely.
Or does that...
We have the power there and everything. It'd be very easy to do.
When we close these Prevost doors too, just such a commercial grade machine.
Stout.
So stout, yes sir.
Yeah,
now,
nothing like.
You've got the doorbell camera here, Airphone doorbell camera. You've been using these for quite some time?
Yes sir, they work good, and that talks directly to the stateroom if you're in bed there, so you can see who's at the door and give you some reassurance what's going on outside.
You never know when Andrew Steele might show up and ring your doorbell here.
That's exactly right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hey, we're looking for
John Walker from Emerald Luxury Coaches.
Then we have the 100th edition logo on this coach too, which is really nice for the 100th birthday for Prevost.
Yeah, it's amazing how many buses Prevost has built over the years, and I want to ask you more questions about, the numbers of Prevost. We're going to take this coach for a test drive in a little bit, but it's pretty windy out here. You think we could pop these slide rooms out and take a look inside?
Absolutely, let's do it, Andrew.
Yeah, and then we're going to also show everyone what it's like with the slide rooms in while it's going down the road. So definitely worth watching this whole video so you can see the test drive as well. One thing I really am impressed with when I open this door here, we've got this touch panel on the inside of the door. We also have the locks for the bay doors, so you can control your lighting, porch lights, all right here in the entry door.
Yeah, just easy to get to. You can turn on all your bay lights from right there too. So you don't have to go around each bay and turn a light off. You can just hit one switch and everything goes off underneath. So it's easy. This is where you're spending a lot of time in and out.
Yes, sir. Let's take a look inside here.
All right, let's do it.
John, you and your team never cease to amaze me. 1582 is a beautiful coach. Was there an inspiration for this interior?
Yeah, a little bit, Andrew. On 1582, we had done a lot of coaches with lighter colors, and some of the comments and stuff I'd read on your page, and people asked to do something a little bit more warm. So we added some warmer woods, a darker ceiling, just to tone it down a little bit, not so bright white as what you've seen. So just change it up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely a more warmer feel, and I love that two-tone contrast with the dark and light. And I don't know if I've seen the more darker ceilings recently, but you really pulled it off.
It's hard too, because it will darken one up a little bit, but this one turned out right with the contrast and two-tone, so it looks good.
Well, and I think your lighting really makes a big difference too, because you've got so much lighting in this coach that even with the darker ceiling and the darker floors, it still definitely has a nice light, airy feel in it.
It does, and the lighting's key. You got to get it in all the right places. So this coach, I think it shows well and doesn't look dark.
Now, coming up to the cockpit area here, we've seen one other 9660 with you, but I don't remember it having this huge Garmin screen up front here. What all is new here in your cockpit for your 9660?
So on the new 9660, which Andrew, that Prevost made a ton of changes on it, so this definitely has a totally different cockpit area. It does have the 15-inch Garmin screen on it. You have the e-mirrors here. You have the 360 camera. Everything's right there at your fingertips. You don't have to hunt and peck for buttons. And then we have our systems right here you can watch running down the road. If you want to see what is happening on the batteries, you can turn on the lights, you can run the air conditioning, you can do everything from the driver's seat, making things easy to use, and this thing just drives great. It's just cool.
Yes, sir. And then I want to come down here to get a feel of this cockpit with the e-mirrors, and I want to point out, if we can get a close-up of these e-mirrors, it's still a little dusk outside, pretty dark, but just crystal clear. I mean, I can see our shoes clearly there. Same thing on this side. Now we have the slide room out, so we're seeing into the slide room, but you can see the decor pieces. I mean, the lighting off the windows, all of the little details. And then this here, have you been taking notes from Elon Musk here? It looks like a Tesla screen.
It does
almost
look like a Tesla screen. People like the bigger screens, and they don't, like I said, they don't have to hunt and peck for little buttons, and everybody keep your eyes on the road, and just a quick glance usually is what we're trying to.
And then in the new 9660, I know the seat has a lot more adjustments, and it feels just slightly more ergonomic. What were the changes they made in the seat here?
They gave it a little bit more room, and it looks tight, but there's actually a lot more room there. And I don't know, just the way they broke the cab, the front, and brought it around, it just seems like it's easier to see out of. And kind of back to the e-mirrors, they're so clear, and it's just a game changer driving at night, driving in rain. They're extremely clear. They have lines that when you hit a blinker that kind of line out where the drive axle is. So it is a whole different experience. And back to your seat, Andrew, you can lean it back further. It's just a lot easier. I don't know, it's just a different setup. It's kind of strange, make a small adjustment made that big a difference.
Yes, sir. Then the Brigade backup 360 camera here is extremely clear as well. I'm very impressed with the clarity of your screens up front here. And then also just the clarity of the buttons as well. Everything's just a little bit brighter, bigger emblems, for, baggage, door locks. And then I'm noticing more controls than I remember in the past here on the steering wheel. Obviously, we've got the simple volume adjustments. We've got the horns, cruise control. We can answer and hang up the phone call or mute it, and then control the stereo, audio. But what's some of the other functions we can do with the steering wheel
I think
controls?
what's nice, Andrew, is other than like in the classic model, you'd have to take your hand off the steering wheel to set the cruise, take a phone call. In this new steering wheel, it's very ergonomic that everything is at your fingertips and you're keeping your hands on the wheel.
Yes, sir. And then even the AC controls, they're just sharper, newer, a little more of a sleeker design. They had been using that previous AC control for a couple decades, I believe.
Yeah, and then they've got it angled up where you can see it. You don't really have to lean forward to do anything. In the past, there was a lot of leaning forward to hit a button or something. This one, you can stay with your head back and your shoulders back.
Yes, sir. We still have 2 cup holders, and then you've got it all wrapped here. I know this isn't from Prevost, but a beautiful material. Is this like an embossed leather?
It is. It's a vinyl, but it has a texture on it there.
So still a high quality material, but no animals are sacrificed?
No animals were sacrificed.
I like that. That's good. Now, I've also got to compliment your lighting here, just with the new 9660, the way that lighting flows. When we pulled up to the coach here this morning and walked up from the front end, it's just such an incredible look. But the ingress and egress, you're pretty tall like myself, and we've got tons of headroom here, but it looks like there's still a monitor, a TV monitor up top.
Yeah, we
there.
do. We have a 55-inch TV in there that will come down. Plenty of headroom, and it's a neat cockpit, and you don't have, it's quieter, and you're a little bit closer together, so you can talk. You know, it's easy to communicate.
Then you've got the two-tone leather with the perforated leather with the Emerald logo.
It's got seat heaters and air conditioning on the seats.
Massaging seats?
Massaging seats as well.
Now this is on the H model, so I know Emerald built some H's. We'll take a couple steps up here into the salon, but I want to ask you more about how many X's and H's you're building every year.
So we're building around 10 coaches a year, and two of those coaches this year were X's. So the rest were H's. So we build about 2 X's a year is what we've been building. So a couple of customs that you probably didn't see. There's still a demand for the X, and we love building them.
Oh, absolutely. And I know, Emerald owners that have owned both the H and the X, and some people just really like that X. Our buddy Jimbo's in an X now. I know he loves that coach.
It's a cool coach.
Now, doubles, triples, and quads. How many quad slides, how many double slides are you building every year?
We just try to keep a mix. We'll build 2 to 3 like quads and then 2 or 3 doubles. And so we just try to keep them mixed up a little bit because it seems like everybody's different. The quad seems to be pretty, a good demand for the quad, but then we'll build 2 or 3 doubles. So I try to keep a mix in production, Andrew, not just building the same thing. It gives some selection to folks so that, we're not just building the same thing over and over. I think it keeps us sharp as far as manufacturing and keeps our engineering sharp. It is very difficult to change over from an H to an X. There's a lot of tooling involved. There's a lot more engineering involved than probably what people think. They think you can just go make that adjustment. It's 2 totally different animals. They are Prevost, but the way they've designed them and built them, they are 2 totally different platforms. It took us a lot of times. I mean, we've been at it 13, 14 years trying to make that transition, and there's definitely been some hardships and hard days trying to make those adjustments, but I'm proud of the team there at Emerald. They've really figured it out, and our guys on the floor, our key supervisors that make those adjustments, they've learned to switch from coach to coach.
Yes, sir. And you mentioned 13, 14 years. Now, I know before you were building Prevost under the Emerald name, some of the folks familiar with the channel know your story with Outlaw Conversions, one of the largest living quarters horse trailer conversion companies in the world. And you started that company in '96. But I know in around '04, I remember seeing some Prevost Outlaws start to pop up. How many Prevosts did you build under the Outlaw name before you started Emerald?
So the first coaches we built were Outlaw in 2004, and those we built 2 double slide XL2s, and then we built H's after that. Built several quad slides, so ended up building 12 Outlaws from 4 to 12, and then in 12 launched Emerald Luxury Coaches moving forward from there. So not a lot of them, but we still service all those coaches, and those are great customers. Those are very unique. Love working on them. They're easy to work on. There's a lot to them. Some of those quad slides have a lot of detail and design in them, so they're good coaches. They're great coaches.
Well, and you mentioned that you still work on those older Outlaws that you built, and recently I've had the opportunity to chat with a few Emerald owners, and people just rave about your service. I know you don't like to advertise it, but your owners just talk about you going above and beyond and really kind of giving them that wow factor, even stuff that they expected. I don't know if you want me saying this on camera, but like stuff they expected to pay for. And you've covered some stuff that a lot of times they didn't even expect you to cover.
Yeah, I know I probably don't brag about it enough, but I think it's hard to service these things because everybody's moving all over the country. So we do the best we can. We're not always perfect. We do make some mistakes along the way, but at the end of the day, after we sell, all we have left is service. So I truly believe that service is the only thing that's going to keep us moving with a customer that buys an Emerald, that if he trades in, he wants to buy a new one. That's our goal. We want to keep him in that product and keep him in the Emerald brand. So the only way we can do that is servicing them.
Well, and talking about service, I was actually talking with an RV technician yesterday, Brian Vandy Walker, who used to build the Country Coach, is a very well-known electrical tech. And I asked him, if he ever works on Emeralds, and he says he really appreciates the way you build it because stuff is easy to access. So from a technician standpoint, even someone that's, worked on other builds, I hear over and over about how much the technicians appreciate the way you build the coach because it's very easy to access and very easy to service the different components. What's your whole philosophy on how you build these coaches?
Well, there's several things. I think, one of the key things was starting outlaw conversions. If you go back to building living quarters trailers, the customer operates and uses that trailer totally different than like this coach. They are in a hurry. They're competing. It's not part of their lifestyle as much as they're using it as a tool. So our goal at Outlaw when we started was to work on them fast, fix them quick, keep them rolling, don't let them set, no setting time in the service centers. So it was trying to same day service as fast as we could. So we learned to build things where you could fix them quick, fix them with technicians that might not be in our system, a guy in Ohio or a guy in Florida that we could talk to him on the phone and say, go, flip this switch and do that. So we'd have to make everything very accessible. When we started building coaches, probably didn't take that philosophy as far as we thought we were going to. Now with Emerald, it's at a whole nother level. We worked with Prevost technicians, Prevost engineering, how we can access all their motors, machine connections, fittings, everything. So everything that we built on this Emerald, Andrew, is accessible that Prevost installed. We have a clear separation between Prevost and Emerald, so we don't get in the pointing finger situation, because sometimes that happens because you got a new technician or whatever and he's not sure. So we have very good engineering that shows all our clean breaks between Prevost and Emerald. We work on the Prevost side too, but sometimes you need to know where that issue is and how to fix that and not spend a lot of time troubleshooting and trying to figure it out, or customers telling you one thing and you're trying to determine what that really is. So I think engineering it properly and having clean breaks between Prevost and Emerald has saved us a lot of time. And then, our newer coaches, I would really tell you that I feel pretty comfortable any typical RV technician working on them. If it was an emergency or something, we could get them fixed pretty quick. Maybe not at the first. Some of those older coaches we need to work on, or figure that out. But now everything snaps on, pops open. We have clear direction for someone, great instructions, and the team back in engineering and service, they can walk somebody through it. Plus, not only do that, send you the plan, schematic, everything you need to solve an issue or work on a motor or fix a connection or whatever the case may be.
Yes, sir. And I remember when I first filmed with you, it was about 5 years ago, the first time we met, and I was so impressed when you were showing me your coach and you were talking about like the panels here. You've got panels up here and panels on the valances here. And then of course these accent walls that are just so beautiful. But you were mentioning that the way you build those, that if someone ever wanted to reupholster these down the road,
yes,
that could be done very easily. And when I filmed some of the older Emeralds, like 16 Emeralds, and I've always had that in the back of my mind because I'm looking at older coaches, what needs to be updated. But you've got such a timeless design that a lot of your 16s, I'm like, you could change out the wall panels, but they really don't need to. You got some timeless coaches out there.
It's amazing. Nobody really is doing it that much, going with what we have. But I think making the panels and the slide out headers and stuff very easy to access and take off is critical, because you do have to do maintenance on these. That's just part of it.
Yes, sir. And I think the way you build coaches, we've really seen Emerald hold very strong on resale value, because the older the coaches get, they're very complex, and the people are starting to think more about, okay, how am I going to maintain this? If I do want to reupholster something, how easy is this going to be? And as the Emeralds get older, they just really seem to hold strong on their resale value.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best value coaches out there. That was our goal when we started, and I think we've accomplished that. Like you said, it's timeless. The interior, the paint jobs we're doing, they look good for a long time, so I think that's critical. They cost a lot of money, so we want to keep that customer looking good down the road.
It's the quality of the paint. I come from the detail world, so not all paint jobs are created equally, but I'll tell you what, this is the best of the best quality of the actual paints that are used. Your paint department's really been firing on all cylinders.
They do good. They're beautiful. You know, we're changing all the time. It's amazing how the design is changing, but still, I agree with you, Andrew. I think keeping it timeless and not going too far out there that it looks something really off. So we try to keep it sharp and keep it tight so it looks good 10 years from now.
Yes, sir, very classy designs. Now, this is the new 9660 shell,
yes,
and we were just talking how your first Prevost were on the XL2, and you built some X3s. And I've seen a couple coaches that have slid through that we didn't get a chance to film, but how many 9660s have you built so far?
So last year we built 8 of our production with the 9660s. We were kind of the last converter to bring one off, so the way our schedule was set with Prevost. So ours came a little bit late to market, but man, they're great. It's a great change for Prevost, and I think it really enhanced the product. Definitely has a different look. It's very distinct. You know it when you see one.
Oh, absolutely, yes, sir. Now, this is a quad slide,
yes, sir.
And this coach, I believe, is available through Transwest out of Frederick, Colorado.
Yes, sir. This is a quad slide PD9660. It's the floor level quad, and then it has the super slides in the back. Kind of the floor plan we build off of with some changes and adjustments to it.
Yeah, now, will this sofa up here turn into sleeping?
Yes, this sofa makes down into a bed.
Yeah, so all from that panel bed side right, or couch side right there.
Yes, sir.
And then there's a TV here in the slide room as well.
Just for traveling. If this one works nice when the slides are in. So if you do want to keep the TV running while that one's up, so you're traveling.
Yes, sir.
That's why we put that there.
Now your shades, I know you do a lot of manual stuff. I know it's going to be manual pocket doors. Are these power shades or manual shades?
These are power shades. Yeah,
okay.
We use power shades on everything.
Yeah, you mind if we put those down here? It's starting to get a little brighter outside, so press one button and those all come down in sync there.
You can control room to room, or you can just do one button.
Yes, sir. I'm noticing these shades have a little more of a warmer tint to it. Are you able to select the colors for the blinds?
Yeah, we select them. Like I said, we built some coaches that were pretty white. So this one is definitely earth tone cream, if you will. So
yeah.
we can change the color on the blinds to match the interior.
Really gives it a nice warm feel when you close those blinds. Very, homey. Does not feel like we're in a motorhome at all. More of a high-end condo or something.
Yeah, and they're blackouts too, so they'll push the heat back too. That helps a lot.
Yes, sir. Now, I'm noticing when we put the blinds down, you've got underlit countertops, and when it was darker outside earlier, they were really popping. That's a nice little touch.
And we got underlighting, Andrew, on our countertops everywhere we can underneath the baseboards. So at night, if you're watching a movie or you need to turn the lights down, you still got a nice tone. You can still see around getting the coach, but it's not bright on your eyes. So we try to put those, hide everything where we can.
I might get in trouble for this one, but I do have to share. I was talking to a manufacturer of some other, non-Prevost product, and they're trying to ask us, hey, what's the latest and greatest? And in the showroom out in Florida, there was an Emerald, there was, all the different Prevost conversions and even a Newell. And I said, out of all of the ceilings, when we were walking in front of those coaches, I said, look at this Emerald with the straight lines. I really think you've got the best ceilings, the best lighting, just the design on your interiors. You're leading the pack.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. We're looking for that high-end look, that like a private jet look. I like the straight lines and hidden lighting, and that's our goal.
Well, you're doing a great job, because I was trying to show them the best of the best. And I know you were talking about how you were the last of the converters to get the 9660, because you're the newest converter, but you're starting to really climb to the top of the food chain here. They say the lion climbing to the top of the mountain is more hungry than the lion at the top of the mountain. So no,
we're glad to have the customers we have, and there's been some other converters come into it. So this is a very competitive market, and I think it's fun that you bring that competitive edge to us all and give us an opportunity to show what we do. And at the end of the day, we got to build great coaches and take care of customers. But I do like the competition side, and it's been a lot of fun to build this stuff.
Well, and everybody's fans of the different converters. There's a lot of politics in the Prevost world, it seems like.
Yeah.
There's different people are very loyal to their brands.
Absolutely.
But you've really gained respect amongst the bus community and the Prevost owners out there, even that own other conversions. People are taking notes to what you're doing here.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, we're thankful for everybody that's purchased an Emerald, and we couldn't do it without them. So I'm very appreciative of everything they've done to help Emerald get there.
You've got the single recliner up front here, and then is this kind of an office workspace, or what's going on up front here?
A lot of our customers are working on the road. They're running their company companies, businesses are taking care of their job on the road. So we did make this a workspace. This has a 50-inch TV here that'll come up, and you can use it for meetings or whatever. You have all your hookups for Cat 6, HDMI, anything you need to hook up to do a meeting or online Zoom call or whatever you can do through our system here. So we found that each customer does a little different. They all work a little different. So we've had to really start customizing this area, if you will. So if you did purchase this coach, you could come back in. We can modify this around to help, because each person that works, they seem like they use different computers. They all sit a little bit different. So it's been very hard and difficult to build this to fit one person. We are striving for perfection, and we've just never seemed to get it right here, because each person wants to do it and use it a little bit different, and every guy's a little different size or whatever. So we've tried to be flexible in this area. We've had customers that purchase this coach, we come back and we modify it for them. So we can change this area up to help you if working from the coach is super important to you. And there are some guys that are, doing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it out if you don't mind here, just because I work on the road a little bit myself. So if I was to, I don't have the means to purchase an Emerald, but maybe someday. You got a dream. But so you got a keyboard tray right here. I mean, this is pretty. I can recline it now. If someone wanted to switch a different chair into this position, chairs, maybe.
Yes.
Now you said this TV will go up over here?
Yes, sir.
And this is beautiful, the way you have the wood grain all the way up this wall, and then the wood grain face on this slide out keyboard tray right here. Just lots of nice touches with that light and dark contrast. Even like this stainless plate, and then you've got some storage here.
Still building access to work on this slide motor. Then we put some hookups back here, like I said, your HDMI, Cat 6 port, whatever you need to hook up there. Anything you need to do if you wanted to use this as a monitor.
Okay, so pretty easy to tie that in.
Super easy. It's set up. We have room down here for a printer.
Oh, yep.
So if you open that up, it's set up for a small printer there.
Yes, sir.
And we actually have the printer that will fit in there if you want those model numbers.
It looks like it's pre-wired. I see that's ready to plug right in.
Wired in, ready to go. You got this screen here that you can sit here and work and still see the systems on your coach. Change it, set your air conditioning if you want to change the temperature. It's all pretty handy.
And then it's got the flat floor, so this has got the drop floor slide room here. Yes. So really nice being able to step in and out of the work area.
Yes. Amazing engineering what they put together here. There's not much out there in the slide out world that matches a Prevost slide, in my opinion.
And do you use all Prevost slides? I know some of the other converters have used aftermarket slide rooms. These are all Prevost slides here?
I do. We choose to just do all Prevost slides, all Prevost paint, everything Prevost all the way through. It just seems it's easier for us, I guess I should say, and it's cleaner. It's cleaner building. I like Prevost flush floor. I think it's the best.
Now, talking about Prevost, at this level, you could choose to build on any platform. What was it about the Prevost platform that made you decide to build on these?
Well, when I first started watching and seeing what those were, we had some customers in the outlaw side that had horses that had Prevost. And I'm like everybody else. I mean, when you see one, you fall in love with them, and I did. So I became a bus nut, Looking at different platforms, I looked at toter homes, I looked at other things to build, and I've built on some of those. I've probably built a couple of dozen toter homes over the years.
Really?
So I've built on a little bit of everything. So when we had an opportunity to build on the Prevost, I was excited. It took a long time for Prevost to sell me a coach. I had to kind of work at it for a couple of years. When I first started coming in the market, the Prevost business was huge. These guys were building massive numbers, and the last thing they needed was another converter. Like, it was not needed.
Well, and you look really young right now. So about 20 years ago, you probably looked pretty green to be buying a Prevost. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, they really. Yeah, I've seen pictures of you that time. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, I was very young.
Well, you somehow earned their trust to sell you a shell, and here you are. And I'm going to throw you in the hot seat right now. This is a question I haven't asked anybody, but you understand it probably better than anybody else. With the new tariffs from Canada, how is that going to affect things, or do you know what's the current situation here as far as March of we're almost in April of 2025? What's the current status, or what do you know so far?
For all I know is they've definitely gone back and forth, a lot of not knowing. And I think a lot of different stories and rumors and stuff. So what we've done is just kind of listening and following along what's really happening. Prevost, I know, is working extremely hard on their side, back and forth from country to country, US to Canada, trying to figure that out. So I've just seen it change a lot, but nothing solid yet, you know, so we're fixing to see, and I think they'll finally settle that down and get a plan here moving forward.
Say there's a 25% tariff. I mean, that cost is going to go right to you immediately. Yeah. Are you gonna? I mean, how are you going to respond to that?
You know, we're just going to have to figure that out and you know, see what the market looks like at that point. Always very conscientious of our cost and watching what we're doing. So they could definitely be a shocker to the system there, and we'll have to work through that. Prevost and their team up there is working hard, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
And do you think that the demand will still be there if you have that huge price increase from the tariffs?
You know, I do, Andrew, and I'll tell you why. I took some huge price increases over the years through wood and stuff, different stuff through Outlaw, and I always thought it would hurt us, but if you have good quality and safety and you build a good coach that you stand behind, believe it or not, there's always that customer that keeps riding with you and hangs there with you. So I believe we don't like it. You know, nobody likes it, but in the past, my experience over, you know, I've been doing this 28 years, we get through it and we have to learn and change, and that's what we'll do. We'll adjust and figure out what we have to do to make it work. There's still a good, solid group of people that love their Prevost, and they're going to buy Prevost, and they're going to go travel.
Yes, sir. And I recently met an Emerald owner that it was just all about the safety of the Prevost shell. This is the machine they wanted to use to transport their family. Yes, and then they also were kind of germaphobes, so they did not want to ever buy anything pre-owned. They had to buy brand new.
Right. That's a lot of that.
So that's
I don't blame them.
That's good for you that there's folks in that position that this is what they want. Yes. And you know, when you look at the private jet world and the marine world, you know, these kind of cap at that $3 million range, where the same people that are buying these, they might be spending $50 to $100 million on an airplane or a boat. So yes, I think that demand's going to stay there for you.
I do too, and I think, you know, it's back to safety. I'm not a sales guy. You know, I'm a manufacturer guy, to be honest with you. But my best selling point is come to Stephenville, let you drive one, and once you drive one, then I think that at that point the sale is done, because driving one fixes everything.
Oh, you get bit. Now, coming into the galley, I actually recently heard another Prevost converter really complimenting your cabinets. Russell Coach, who does a lot of the tour bus conversions, very high quality tour bus conversion Prevost. Yeah. We were talking about you. Your name comes up a lot, but he was like, man, I really like the way they build their cabinets. That's getting respect from the other builders out there.
Those guys at Russell know how hard it is to build a cabinet for one of these, first and foremost, I'm sure. So I think we really thought about it, you know, getting the proportions right, using a lightweight material, soft close hinges on everything. I use magnetic latches. Not everybody uses magnetic latches, but you know, listen to the customers on that. It's a little different setup. Hiding everything, you know, where the plugs and everything are kind of hidden, and the downlighting is hidden.
Yeah,
and
then, the outlets up here.
Yeah, and then lighting everything up where they're floating, so they look like they're floating off the ceiling or off the floor. And you know, a lot of guys do that too. So you know, it's hard to change your cabinets up a little, you know, because there's only certain ways you can build these. So we work hard on that, though. And we build all our cabinetry in-house, so it is all designed and built in-house by us.
And that's a separate cabinet shop from Outlaw, or is it the same cabinet shop?
No, Outlaw and Emerald are completely separated. I have a few associates that go back and forth that help, but overall, equipment builders, we have our own set. It's two different builds, and so we have our own cabinet shop there at Emerald.
Yeah, that's understandable. We did visit your factory a few years ago. Really impressive operation you have there in Stephenville, Texas. Coming to the galley here, does this coach have a dishwasher?
It's got the Fisher Paykel dishwasher here, and then all your drawers.
Yeah, and I just, when you pull that out there, I noticed a silverware divider. Is that all built in-house by Emerald as well?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Looks like a Wolf induction cooktop.
Wolf induction cooktop, recessed in. We have the other piece that goes there to fill the countertop all the way in.
Yeah, the other countertop cover. Sir. Is there a reason you use the Viking convection microwave oven?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's a high-end, we're trying to use a high-end appliances on everything. The Viking, they make a good convection oven microwave unit there, so that's what we're using currently.
And a cool sink here. I don't know if we've seen, started to see this in your more recent builds. What is this, like a little vegetable cleaning area?
Yeah, got all components and pieces, and then everything has rubber on it so it doesn't vibrate. It's got screw down drains and everything. The stainless sink's popular, but then you can wash your vegetables, or you can set dishes and things in the sink if you do want to travel.
One thing I'm always impressed with when we open your cabinets as well is the lighting inside of the cabinets. Are all of your cabinets lit inside?
Yeah, so inside we'll put carpet runners, in the cabinets, but then we do lighting and adjustable shelves in all the cabinets. If you got room for an adjustable shelf, we're going to put it there, and we light up everything, closets, cabinets, everything.
Yes, sir. And then below the sink here, I believe you've got a trash receptacle.
Yes, sir.
And recycle as well.
Recycle as well. So you got both there.
Yeah, and then some good deep drawer space here. Some of your remotes, I think, are you getting less and less remotes here? This is probably a record for the least amount of remotes I've seen in one of your coaches.
We've been on a mission the last 10 years to get rid of remotes. My service crew definitely wants us to, but so this coach right here, it has your regular satellite. If you're running satellite, it has your TV if you're streaming.
People still use those?
And so, very few. They're slowly going away. So they're all going to this. And so we don't run an automation system for our AV. We're using the TV, the sound bar, and now Starlink's coming on. So this coach is streaming, it can do that. So I do still put the satellites on the coaches and the receivers. I do have quite a few customers still want that. So they're not leaving it yet. Some of the customers are used to using that dish network, and I get it. They're used to it, and I understand.
I understand. So, hey, if they're writing the check for the coach.
Whatever they want.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
We're still, but yeah, we're definitely getting rid of the remotes, Andrew.
And is Starlink's standard?
Starlink is standard. We're putting that on here on every coach now. So use the InMotion. So it's amazing. Other day we had every TV streaming, outside TV streaming. We hooked up a couple of iPads to it, a laptop. There was multiple things going, and it's amazing. It's getting better and better and better.
And then come back here to the galley. Here we've got nice deep drawers, good amount of storage here, more drawers right here. I'm noticing these touch panels around the coach. Is that something new?
Touch screens for all your light switches through the coach. So just wherever you need them, around the bed or in the cab, wherever.
Now is this just for lighting? I see entry heat, salon heat. Is that for the heated floors?
It's for the heated floors. Each switch does different things. So like that one is for the heated floors or the heaters in the galley. So each switch does certain things, like the table lift here or the bed lift here. So it just depends on the switch. Each one's different depending on the location of the coach.
A few different functions. Now, talking about heated floors, this has the drop floor slide room. Is this portion of the floors heated as well?
Yes, sir. We do both. We do both the way it's set up. So we keep the whole floor and the drop floor.
And how many zones of heating?
We're running 2 zones. So the stateroom and then the galley forward is 2 different zones. A lot of customers just do the bedroom sometimes if they're just, getting up or taking a shower. So it just depends on how you want to use it.
And do those go into the bathrooms as well?
Yes, sir, they do. They run into the bathrooms, around the toilets and everything.
And then across from the galley here, you mentioned that this will turn into a bed?
Yes, sir. We have a cushion that I match right here, and this table will go down here.
Yeah, super simple and easy. You go right to it. Very user friendly.
We're building J lounges, or we do the bar sometimes. We build a little bit of everything, but the dinette's still pretty popular. If you have a grandchild or something, throw the cushion on here, and it makes it to a pretty easy little bed.
Yes, sir. Yeah, one of the easiest booth converted into a bed I've seen.
Quick.
Yes, sir. And then do these cushions?
These are removable if you need to clip them out. I've got them hard mounted, but you can. So if you need more length, you can.
All of these decor pieces, those come with the coach, and your team just stage these, or does that?
They're staging. They come with the coach.
Okay.
So we got everything glued down. It's ready to travel.
Yes, sir. Looks like you're set up to maybe make some, I don't know what this is, maybe make some mojitos or something. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Now, storage above. I like that when we open it, you hear that little click. They stay open.
We've been doing some where you lift up and not just swinging them. So, you can do it different ways depending on the design of the cabinet. Easy to get in, hold the door open while you're loading dishes or whatever you have going in.
I want to try this booth out for size, because not all booths in the motorhome industry especially are created equally. But, we could easily sit 4 people here very comfortably. I'm going to knock you a little bit here.
Yeah, it's a little
with my
low.
hat on.
You're pretty
a little
tall,
bit low.
Andrew,
Probably want to have my date over here. So.
Yeah, there you go. Take your hat off while you're
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Where'd my manners go? So, but real comfortable area for 4 people without having to extend it out or go grab extra dinette chairs. Some storage below the booth. It's a big deep drawer there as well.
Yes, sir. Try to use all the space we can.
And then this is, I believe, a different pattern than we've seen on both of your accent walls here on both sides of the entry to the middle of the coach. Almost a chevron pattern, but still, I like the straight lines. Are we ever going to see rounded lines in an Emerald, or is it always going to be straight lines?
No, you'll probably see all kinds of different things as we move forward. We got a lot of new things coming.
Yes, sir. And then this is nice, the way you broke up the face of the refrigerator. And I really like this two-tone with the darker face of the refrigerator.
We did the dark wood, Andrew, the little higher shine. I've had some requests to bring back some of that darker wood too. So like I said, we're just giving it some of that tone. So this has a pantry here.
Again, very well lit, adjustable shelving.
Adjustable shelves.
Looks like some pull-out drawers as well.
Yes, sir.
And are these magnetic as well, or?
These aren't. These have the latches on the back here that are weight driven, depending on, because these get pretty heavy, people adding bottles and things like that.
Yes, sir. And then I want to just point out these hinges, way overbuilt, it seems like, the way these hinges are.
Yes, heavy duty hinges, and these are extend that door open as wide as you can, so that's why we use those. Across from the pantry, Andrew, we have the half bath. Nice vanity, plenty of room.
Even an accent wall going into the half bathroom here. I really like the way you do that. And then a manual pocket door.
Pocket door. Very popular nowadays.
Yes, sir. I know. Well,
solid door.
I feel like you're not the popular one. Everyone else is doing them where you have to press a button to open and close the doors. But I'm just a big fan of manual pocket doors. Why have you not done the pneumatic air or electric doors like a lot of the other Prevost converters?
Well, and I have. We've done them, and I think easy use is the main reason. It's just easier to grab a door and close it. That's the way we live in our homes, and we're used to doing that.
Yes, sir.
So it's cool to hit a button too. So it's what you want, but I think these seem to be a lot less serviced. So we don't have to service these that much. Maybe occasionally, very little. So that's why I like it.
Yes, sir. And again, underlit countertops in your bathroom. And this is a little different style tile pattern as well. You guys are always changing, improving.
Yes, sir. Just changing up the mosaic tiles are very popular. Any type of different look we can come up with, that's what we're shooting for.
Well, and that straight line lighting, I think a lot of people, I know you've been doing this for quite a while, but I think people have been kind of copying you a little bit, because I've been starting to see more of this style of lighting. And then right across from the half bathroom here, we've got the Miele stackable washer and dryer. And then John, I'm noticing that you have these big metal frames here.
We build these in-house. That's just to back that door up to make it stronger.
Like a reinforcement.
Like a reinforcement.
Coming back here, and they call this the Super Suite, I believe. This has got the bedroom super slides?
Yes, sir. So this is the super slides from Prevost. This is our floor plan that we like, where we have the bed offset, which allows us to get some really nice sized closets in this thing.
Well, yeah, this area of the coach here, we can section off the rear bedroom. I like that you've got a full-length mirror here, but you've got closet space here. I mean, huge closets.
Huge closets. This is double deep closet here. So you have two rods. You can hang things back here that you don't use as much, maybe jackets or whatever.
Two hanging rods. And then are these extra sink covers?
Those sink covers that come with it, they're just not in position. This is just where we store them if you want them out of the way.
Yes, sir. And then that same reinforcement there on the inside of these doors as well.
Sir. Holdbacks on all the doors to keep them open.
Still underlit countertops through the coach. I like that. Nice deep drawers, bedside. And then right across the way, you've got another huge wardrobe. And I like the face of these cabinet doors. This is a different style with like the square pattern here.
Yeah.
Is that something new?
Laying that laminate in there. It's very slow, but very detailed, and the guys do a good job and have to work hard at that. It's definitely a really neat look. Huge closet, has a safe in it, power in there. Place to kind of separate your shoes, Andrew. Yeah,
almost a full walk-in closet, but with outlets. The safe is tucked kind of out of the way there.
Yes, sir.
And then again, I've got to just point out those huge reinforcements. But this is like almost a real door there, full-size door.
Yeah, and then you can hang dresses or whatever here. So this. Some of the customers asked us to put drawers in here. We've done different things. So you can kind of customize this, if you will, to fit how you like to use storage.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I got to point out that straight line lighting, really well lit. And then again, indirect lighting above the slide room face here. And that darker ceiling is really growing on me. I haven't seen anybody pull it off in a while, but you pulled it off.
Thank you. It's not easy to do that one, but yeah, it turned out pretty good.
Now, who does all your design at Emerald?
Andrew, we have a group of us that do it. So there's 2 or 3 people that have their hand in the design and the colors. So we all work together to kind of pull this together. Now that we're building a lot more custom coaches, customers have a lot of say in the colors, and they know exactly what they want to. So you'll see a lot of coaches that we're going to build this next year that has a lot of customers' taste in it. So we all work together to get that done.
Now, when you say custom, how custom are you able to get?
Well, I tell you what, we've learned there's areas in the coach I feel like you don't need to touch. Like we've designed, say, the inverter system and electrical system. Some of those stuff, we call them no-touch zones. We're just not going to design or engineer that. But that's to keep the quality and the value in the coach. But now color, design, ceiling designs, we currently offer 4 different ceiling designs that we're building. So you can change the ceilings up a lot, change the colors up a lot, you can change your valances. So there's a lot. I mean, it's pretty in-depth and custom.
Floor plans.
And we'll move the floor plan around. There are some areas we don't want to touch. We have to kind of stay away from because it just takes so much time. We'll lose so much time in production if we move that stuff around. We will change the seating. So there's a lot of folks that want like a J lounge over a dinette or a dinette over a J lounge. So we'll move all that around. So we'll change these bed locations. We have a stateroom that has 2 super slides. The bed is center, closet side. So we'll move it around quite a bit.
And I've got to ask, when is your first 2 full bathroom with 2 shower? When are you going to build one of those?
I got to build it. I know, Andrew. I've
been asking.
We got to do it. I know. You find us a buyer, we're going to build it.
Well, please drop a comment below if you guys think. I think a 2 full bathroom with 2 shower Prevost, maybe a double slide X would really be the sweet spot. Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible. Yes, it's possible. There's room for it.
We just need one of you to write a check so we can make a video about that coach, because I want to see that.
Yes, we will. We'd love to build one.
Well, I've seen the 2 full bath floor plans be really popular in the Class A space, and nobody's doing it in the Prevost yet. I've heard some rumors that there may be some people working on it, and I think someone on the tour bus side has done it. We did see Russell, coach, did pull that floor plan off.
And you liked it.
I liked it a lot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Exactly.
So
no, we need to build one. Somebody will build one. The Prevost can handle it for sure.
All right, well, when they build it, I hope we can make a video on it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Storage here in your bedroom. You still have the fixed TV with a little bit of storage on both sides.
Just giving you storage where we can. Adjustable shelves, you can change it however you want to. Have a 50-inch flat screen TV, and then your drawer stack here at the foot of the bed.
And then is there storage below the bed?
Yeah, we have 2 big drawers underneath there.
And is this a full king size bed?
Yes, sir. It is a full king size bed. Yeah, and it has a head lift and a leg lift at the front, so you can lift the back or the front.
So when the slide rooms come in, do you have to lift it for the slide rooms to come in?
No, sir. You can put it in just like it is right now, laying flat.
Okay.
Now, when you're traveling, though, you can't get to the bathroom if the slides are in. But the bed does stay down, but you have access to this bathroom here.
Yes, sir. Now, I've got a compliment, too. No cabinets above the bed gives you a nice open feel when you're waking up in a coach and you don't have those cabinets. It's just that extra headroom. And then a cool design on the ceiling inside of your slide room. Really simple but classy, timeless design.
Yeah, thank you. I like the windows. The Prevost windows are huge. I like them, how they follow the body line of the coach. Nobody builds a coach like that. You've got panels on both sides and switches on both sides for the customer. Everything's pretty easy. You can check everything from here. We have the 360 cameras hooked up for security cameras on the TVs, so you can click over and, if you want to check, you hear something, you want to check outside the coach, you can see. So you can do all that from bed, not have to get out of bed. You can turn all the lights on outside, around the coach, so there's a lot you can do.
And then does this have the doorbell camera? I see over here, Airphone. I know you can monitor around the coach, but if someone rings your doorbell,
that's your doorbell camera, so they can see who's at the door. So yeah, that works really nice.
And you've been using these Airphone doorbell cameras for quite some time now, huh?
Yeah, they work great. You can see who's at your door. That does have a bell, and you don't have to leave bed.
Well, when you're riding around to one of these Prevosts, people are always thinking there's a rock star inside. So I'm sure you have to have shoo people away from time to time.
There's always somebody knocking on the door, for sure.
Now the ceiling in the bedroom here is a similar design to what we saw in the salon. I really like this design, the way it's got the indirect lighting and again straight lines. But have you had Emerald owners custom build a coach where they maybe use one of your different ceiling designs in the salon and the bedroom, or does it have to be the same?
You can mix and match depending on however you want to do that. So like, I know that on the new P9660, Andrew, we did over 100 changes to this coach when we built the first one. We made 100 changes on our side, plus we did a new air conditioning system where we're hiding the ducts more, so you can just feel the air. You don't really know where it's coming from, so that is tied into those ceiling designs as well.
And that process of custom building at this level, a lot of people, they're writing this big check, they want to choose all the little cues. What does that process look like to order a coach and have it custom built through Emerald?
It's going to take about a year. I mean, a little under a year to go through that process, and then you know, we may not do everything they want us to do. So we've got to show them what we do and why we do. There's a reason why we do everything we do. So to make those changes, it's not a problem. But you just come to the factory, sit down with us, go through those, you know, through the orders, look at the coaches we're building. Sometimes you can get a lot of inspiration, but just walking around the facility, looking at the other coaches that we're building for people. That's how I think is the best. Come into the factory and experience it, spend some time on the floor with the guys working, and you can really see what they're doing. We like to get everything nailed down and picked. And once that's done, you know, we build it. If you change something in production, we typically wait till the end. We have to go ahead and finish the coach most of the time and then make those changes. It's just too hard changing as we build. So that's one thing that I really promote, is not changing production once we start. So once we get it nailed down, we like to build it.
And if someone were to write a check today, I know it's probably constantly changing, because if you have 3 people write you a check today, that's going to move your build process back quite a bit. But you think about a year, if they wrote a check today, they'd see their coach in about a year?
About a year, yeah, because we're pretty much through for 2025. You know, everything's sold, coming out, or designed, or being built. So it would definitely be 26 if you built one.
So now this coach is currently available, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. After this coach sells, do you have any other in stock? This is the
only one I have in stock right now, but currently we do have some builds that are coming that are not sold that you can look at, or you could possibly make some changes to before they're done. But those coaches will be coming off this summer.
Okay, so a couple more show coaches coming through.
Yes, sir.
But custom, you're about a year out.
Custom, we're about a year out, but we have some coaches that are coming offline, the quads like this.
Okay. You mentioned you have different ceiling designs. Do you also have different options for the accent walls?
You know, on the accent walls, we leave it open. So whatever you want to do.
You can go crazy.
That's where you can really put your touch on the coach and your design. So you can go crazy, whatever you want to do there, and as long as, you know, we can build it, we'll put it there.
Yeah, if they can write the check, yes, sir. And then again, you know, the straight line lighting really sets it off nice. Now come back here, the rear bathroom. This is huge, and I just saw this tile work for the first time. Beautiful tile. Is that like a mosaic style tile on that wall? Or?
Yeah, mosaic. And Andrew, get in there. I like when you
yes,
get in
sir, absolutely.
Big, you know,
yes,
you're
sir.
a big, tall guy, and show the size of our shower.
Well, and this is an H, and you know, even with my hat on, I've got plenty of headroom here, plenty of elbow room, a small little you know, spot to maybe if a gal was shaving her legs or something, put a foot up there, a little shampoo cubby, couple shampoo cubbies, and again, nice lighting inside of your shower. And then you've got a vent with a fan up here.
Yes, sir. Get that steam out, and then we try to keep our shower as low as we can, so it's not a big step up into our shower.
Yes, sir. Hanging bar in the shower for, you know, swimsuits and wet towels and all that stuff.
Yes,
you still have a lot of countertop space here in your bathroom as well.
You know, Andrew, you videoed a coach with me one time. We had 2 sinks, and a lot of the comments, people felt like 2 sinks weren't needed back here. So we got rid of, you know, we did this with 1 sink, and people really do like having more of the countertop space. This seems to be very popular.
So a lot of mirrors here as well.
A lot of mirrors needed.
Well, I like what you do here, like a little spot to hang jewelry.
That seemed, people ask for that, you know, just places to put little things, and you got drawer storage all the way down and around, and then it has a dirty clothes hamper behind where you're at. So there's a lot going on in a little space.
Well, and this is different. It's a little bit thicker countertop face that's backlit. That's a different look to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's got that waterfall edge on it, and the guys are amazing in the shop. I mean, they're tying the solid surface in, so you keep the pattern running through when you cut it. So they put a lot of time grain matching.
Yeah, same thing here with a backsplash as well. Really cool design here. Then back here, again, huge mirrors, but you may want to show us what's going on back here.
Sure. So these are our basic systems that's running the coach. So it's easy to get to. You have some redundancy here. We use a module type system, but then we have backup modules. So if one isn't working, you can unplug and go to another one. It's a little costly, but it's nice for customers to have that backup. Very easy system to work on and service. So real good to get to, real easy to get to is when we put it back in.
And I think we were talking about if you need to walk a technician through something, really easy to walk folks through how to work on it.
For sure. Then you have a small linen closet right here, then access to work on your shower if you have any issues there. And then we have a dirty clothes hamper here. So
always need a spot for dirty laundry. Nice to have that.
Always got to have it. Try to use every inch, so there's not really any wasted space anywhere in the coach.
All right, so this is our first time in the 9660 shell. We're pulling out of a busy truck stop here in Indio, California. But John, you were telling me earlier when you were driving this 9660 around the resort that it's a big step up from the Classic.
Absolutely. This thing is unbelievable, Andrew. We're just cruising around. I mean, no hand on the wheel. It just falls right back in line. It's so balanced, well balanced, and it just eases around. It feels solely good. Everything's close, like I said. You don't have to hunt for things. It is nice.
And with this huge monitor here and the e-mirrors, everything is super visible. You know, even here from the passenger seat, very ergonomic. Now, I've got to compliment your dash here as well. You know, we're really seeing this embossed leather in the daylight. Really a good looking dash the way this is all finished out. But what are some of the more newer features, you know, of drivability that's going to change the ride in this 9660 versus previous coaches?
You know, I think they've took the front and they broke it a little bit on the front for aerodynamics. It makes the cab a little tighter, and then they rake that nose back, and it really helps on the aerodynamics of the coach. You know, completely redesigned their dash. New gauges across the front. Then you have a steering wheel that has all your controls on it. So, you know, in the older coaches, you'd have to reach to turn something on or hit a switch. Most of everything is on the steering wheel, which makes it really nice.
Can we, I know navigation is going the other way, but can we get on the interstate just to show the folks what it's like?
Sure.
While we're going down the highway, that's what this coach is all about. These California roads are not the best roads, to be fully transparent.
Well, we're in the middle of a sandstorm today.
It's extremely windy. We got 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts today, so not optimal conditions. Then in a moment, I want to go to the back of the coach and show everyone, you know, what the 9660 is like while we're going down the interstate with the slide rooms in. This is a quad slide, so it's going to be a little bit tighter than, you know, some of the double and triple slide coaches.
Yeah, you can tell we got quite a headwind here. The wind is hitting us right at this corner here, Andrew, so
you can hear it.
Strong. It's pretty strong today. This thing sets good though. You can tell it's not, you know, it breaks the wind nice. It's clean.
Definitely extremely smooth. You know, from a passenger's perspective, a little bit different, more smooth. It's hard to describe what I'm feeling, but I just don't feel any bouncing at all. And even though, like, you can tell where these roads have, like, this is super, super rough roads, a lot of traffic out here, where normally I feel like the coach would be kind of porpoising a little bit, but it's definitely holding super solid. Now, is this the same suspension components that was on the previous body style?
That's all the same. They haven't changed that. It was just the front end that was really changed. So, but I think your aerodynamics of it, the way the steering wheel is set in and the way it feels is just really different. It definitely has a different feel. We're taking I mean, I can tell the wind's blowing, I can feel it, but the coach is setting really still. And I mean,
yeah,
I mean, you barely have to touch the steering wheel and it just drives great.
And this is the windiest day I've ever seen here in Indio, California. You know, you could see the dust in the air. The dust is blowing up because it's so windy today.
We couldn't even see the mountains this morning.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir. But really still holding strong, you know, going over the big bumps with the heavy wind. And how fast are we going right now?
Right now, we're running about 60.
Okay.
So just easing along. Got a lot of traffic.
Now with the e-mirrors, you know, even though it's daylight, really nice to have those e-mirrors. I feel like they probably give you a little bit more view than your standard mirrors do.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. You know, it's funny. At first, I'd keep looking at my older mirrors, but you finally get used to the mirrors, and it's amazing how clear they are. And you can really see, like, we got a big truck coming up to the right on us right now, and I can really see him. You know, I can tell where he's actually at. And my other mirror, he looks like he's in a different position. So these are giving you real time, and I think it's a lot safer. And, you know, you get a chance if somebody's in that blind spot, you can't see them. So I think it's nice.
Yeah, well, then at night and in foggy conditions. Now, I wonder in dusty conditions, because the dust is going to definitely take away from the vision. I'm sure the dust would probably make the cameras a little bit more blurry, or you're going to lose some of that sight.
Absolutely, that's very true. But not on the e-mirrors. It seems like it clears it up.
Really?
Yeah, you don't see it. I mean, I was amazed. I was driving one other night, and it was raining and misty, and man, you could see very clear. And the other mirrors were blacked out, so I think it's a lot. It gives you a lot better chance to see what's happening around the coach.
Yes, sir.
It's a nice rough road here in California.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is about as rough as it's gonna get. Now, I will say, even with the rough roads though, when we do look out this window here, this mountain range to the north right now, we are able to see a view of that. Even though it is windy, we are seeing those mountains, just beautiful views of the mountains. And I'll tell you what, let's walk to the back of the coach real quickly here, just to show everyone what it's like. Right now, with the slide rooms in, you can see we can easily walk through. Now, this rug is currently staged, so we are gonna step over it, but I think a lot of times this could be stored in the basement bays. We've got easy access to the half bathroom here, and then of course, easy access to the bed. Now, right now the bed is down flat, so he's starting to accelerate here. So this is where this coach really shines. I mean, we're in a motorhome right now, and if you've been in other non-Prevost motorhomes, a lot of times you're going to be, really feeling every little bump in the road. You can hear that Volvo D13 starting to fire up, and you can see that flag there just to show the wind. It's and then you've got that little yellow guy up there. He's going pretty wild. It's the smog windy check.
But when we were driving the wind a while ago, Andrew, you don't have to stress, or you don't have to gather the coach up. It stays on the highway, and that's what's different. That's what, like I've said before, I'm not a sales guy. Just come drive one, and that'll sell you, because nothing drives like it.
No.
The other guys that are, build other motorhomes, say Class A motorhomes, they're putting a box on a chassis, and this isn't that way. This is built as all one unit, and kind of like a monocoque, if you will, chassis, and so that's why it has that type of feel.
Yes, sir. And no one else in the industry is doing what Prevost does. And I know there's a lot of research and development that goes into the Prevost chassis before you turn it into a motorhome. Do you know how many coaches a year between the tour bus industry, the Greyhound, the passenger transport type buses? How many buses is Prevost building every year?
I think they're, somewhere north of 700 units a year. I don't know exactly their numbers, but they're not a company that builds, a couple of dozen a year. They're a company that puts out, a lot of numbers, a lot of safety. Everything at Prevost, from their engineering down, is fully integrated as safety, because they're moving so many people around, and that's what makes this the ultimate motorhome, because of the safety and the engineering that they put behind it. That the other companies aren't able to do that because of the volume, the sheer volume that these guys build at. So if you ever get a chance to go to the Prevost factory, you can just see it in every design, everything they do, everything they train us on. That's what's great about this chassis. When they're building the coaches, it seems like they're in always a constant state of improvement to improve on the chassis. Things like the window. People ask us, why do we still have the center column? That's a safety feature. You hit a deer running 70 miles an hour, and that helps stop it. Hopefully, there might, or something big in the road. They think about things like that. It may not be always the most, the best look or what other people do, but they're not into following other people. They're into doing what they do for safety. That's their trend.
Yes, sir. I think they call those deer catchers up in Canada. Definitely something to be said about having the split windshields and that steel post in the middle. And then, honestly, changing out the windshields is going to be a lot less expensive. I know the bigger one-piece windshields can be very expensive when you do catch a rock chip. And the way these roads out here are, there's probably a lot of rock chips getting flung up here in this part of the world, I would imagine.
Well, that's true. I mean, the one-piece windshield it's nice sitting in the resort, and that's about it.
Yes, sir.
It's not designed to be on the road.
Yes, sir. And you were talking about, the testing that goes into Prevost. Do you know if they're held to like a specific set of standards when they're building a bus that's going to be hauling people around? Correct.
They do go by a set of standards. It's basically like a government standard, a DOT standard. So yeah, they have to go by rules and regulations, and they just don't just go out there and build this stuff. Just like our company, we feel being RVIA certified is a big thing.
Yes, sir.
I think we're one of the few converters that do that, and but it does keep us in line with rules and regulations as far as electrical and plumbing, and you know, it keeps our employees answering to someone else when we do safety checks and go through our, you know, our training, and I think that's good. It's a third party looking at you just to make sure you're doing things right, and it definitely wakes people up, and, you know, safety is a priority.
Yeah, and I know with, you know, being under our VIA code, you're going to have your hands tied a little bit more of what type of materials that you're able to use. They only want you to use, you know, certain materials, where I think if someone wasn't under or answering to our VIA code, they could just kind of use whatever and wouldn't be as strict of regulations. But there's safety reasons for every little detail, though.
Absolutely, and that's what I like about RVA. We work with RVA, and we've asked them, hey, you know, step up your checks, make it harder, make us stress and push harder for those safety checks. And, you know, on all our materials and everything we use in here, we have to have MSDS sheets on. We don't just buy anything off the shelf. So it's one more step, and they are in your business a little bit, which can be, you know, troublesome and kind of a pain, if you will, sometimes to deal with. But I think it definitely enhances our product and enhances our manufacturing processes in the factory.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I'm going to put the step cover out here. I didn't have that step cover down, but I like the way that matches your floors with the wood grain there.
I got a little slide out tray there for if you had shorter legs, Andrew, right underneath your,
right here?
Yeah, pop that.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Okay, so you've got a step cover and then a second slide tray, because most people's legs aren't, I don't even think my legs are going to be all the way down here, but nice to have. And then that little slide tray for your feet. Yeah, that's much more comfortable than my feet dangling here.
Yeah. The way that H sits, that there's just a little bit more height there. Plus, if you have a dog, that kind of helps the dog not go down in the step well.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah, we probably want to get in the right lane up here. Well, we definitely were not cherry picking the best roads, so I'd like to see other motorhomes test drive on this road, because we've driven it all. And, you know, if you have a smooth road, even in a fiberglass or a production motorhome, if it has brand new tires and a smooth road, it's not really a fair test. But when you come out here to, you know, India, oh, not this one, the next one we're gonna go right, sorry. But you can see, I mean, these roads that are just torn up, it's gonna give us a whole new understanding for how this coach rides. And I'd love to just go over these types of roads in a production motorhome that's more of a box on a chassis. I would imagine we'd be hearing a lot of rattles and squeaks. And
well, like a while ago, we had a 25-mile-an-hour side wind. You know, I'm not holding it like this. I was literally driving the coach with one hand. So I think that's a lot. I drove the Class A, and man, you really have to guide it around in those type of winds, especially in Texas, because being from Texas, we get plenty of side winds.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
I think the wind blows harder out there than it does here in California.
I believe it. Yes, sir.
Right here?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and Eli, if you're able to grab with the camera, I mean, I've never seen winds like this. And if you're able to zoom in on those flags for that golf course there, see over there on the left, those yellow flags.
I'm gonna ease out here. Lots of traffic, but not too bad.
You want to hammer down on it a little bit?
Sure.
Just such a smooth platform. You know, I get used to these Prevosts, because I've been a lot of Prevosts since the first time. It's been almost 5 years since the first video we did.
Yeah.
I think it's been about 5 years. And I've become accustomed to how smooth this was. But I remember the first time I rode in an Emerald with you out here, I could not believe how quiet it was in the back of the coach. And we're running, we might even be going above that 50-mile-an-hour speed limit here, and it's just super smooth. Now, the X is going to be a little bit different driving than the H. What are the biggest differences you notice between driving an X and an H? Well,
I think the biggest difference, and most people know, is that axle is set back about 17 inches more than the H. So you got a longer wheelbase. but man, it really makes that coach float down the highway. That's the big difference is, and because when you turn the X, you got to take it a little bit wider because that axle's just a little bit further back.
Okay.
But you know, as far as everything else, to me, it's very similar.
Yes, sir.
You know, so they have a different way of driving. You know, it's taller inside. And and you're up a little higher. So it just depends on what you like. But I like the X. I like that longer wheelbase, especially out on the interstate. Like that interstate we were on a while ago, Andrew, was a concrete. It was concrete. It wasn't asphalt. Mm-hmm. That X would just get up there and it'll ride smooth. And
yes, sir.
You can't tell you're on a concrete highway than a asphalt. So. You can get on some good asphalt where it is smooth, that X will just float.
Yes, sir. So, nothing drives like a Prevost, and this is our first time in the 9660 shell, so, you know, really it's just a slight refinement, but you could see and feel that Prevost is improving, and this new 9660 is definitely a big step up. I've heard once you drive one, you're gonna get bit with that Prevost bug, and there's no going back. I actually talked to a gentleman that bought another Class A, high-end Class A motorhome and came out here to Motor Coach Country Club and drove a Prevost, and now he's already looking to trade. So
it's the #1 sales thing we got going for us.
Well, John, I appreciate you showing us around this stunning emerald. Now, if someone wants to custom build or custom order a new emerald, where can they get more information?
You can go to emeraldluxurycoaches.com. You can give us a call. This coach is for sale at Transwest Truck and Trailer RV. So there's several ways to get a hold of us, but just, you know, reach out to us and see if we can help you any way we can to fulfill your dreams on an emerald.
Well, John, it's really awesome to see how you and the team at Emerald continue to push the industry, and I think the market's definitely responded. People really appreciate what you're doing, so really appreciate you taking the time, sir.
I appreciate you.
Always a pleasure and an honor.
You bet. Thank y'all.
Yep.
Thanks for coming.
Yep, and thanks to all of you subscribing to the channel. We hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.